So you join me back in the greenhouse. I am so desperately trying to get on top of this greenhouse, but as you can see, it is a crying mess. But I think there's real value in showing the honest behind the scenes of how a garden gets, especially the garden of a single mom who's had a couple of years of insane busyness and always being called somewhere else. And when I'm not being called somewhere else, I'm exhausted and catching up on sleep or wanting to sit and read, or there's housework calling. The garden has seemed like a huge task. So I'm determined to stay back in the magic garden, and if you've followed my last two videos you will know that clearing these brambles are still all down this one side of the greenhouse. Clearing them and getting on top of the greenhouse is just my first task, and I wanted to share it. Honestly, I wanted to share that I have been really overwhelmed over the last week, but I'm really battling overwhelm with self-love and just a little bit every day where I could, which hasn't been every day because I've had trips to Stratford. I've got a daughter in the middle of her A-levels. I've got another daughter trialling residential school, which has included days in Birmingham. So I'm doing what I can, and I think accepting that is self-love. So what am I doing? I've braved the spiders. Here I'm cleaning some of the purple slate that is on the floor, because the greenhouse floor, once I started to clear it, not only is it full of giant spiders, eek, but also mice have been in here. It's covered in mouse poo. There's lots of dirt as well on top of the liner, which is just going to encourage weeds to grow inside the greenhouse. So I am slowly picking up the shale and trying to clean it, but I needed a break from all that mouse dust, and I went outside. I also want to try and clear down the far side of the greenhouse, which is what you can see here. I set up a time lapse on my phone inside the greenhouse as I was clambering round the side, getting scratched to smithereens, trying to clear this. You can see the weeds coming off the top of the roof. So I ended up with a pile like this, and look, there is a fence panel in there. The fence, which closes off the back of the garden, which I'll show you in a minute, had rotted through, and I pulled one bramble and it snapped. You can see there is no fence now into that garden. Why were there fences there in the first place, you may ask? Well, there wasn't always a greenhouse here, and my dogs would jump in and dig all the plants out, so I had to fence in all the beds. So there he is. He was whining. Somehow his toy had got down the side. I think he'd managed to push through the gap inside the greenhouse, so he wanted his toy back. So you can see now I am trying to clear down the side. The roof is almost clear. What I realised once I got down this side is some of those Lavatera trees are rotten. Did you see that entire tree then just got picked up and moved? They were just snapping off along with the fence. It was quite a job to get down here to try and clear, but more or less eventually you can see through the broken glass of the greenhouse I have managed to clear down that side, and the pile of weeds now that I've just been throwing onto the lawn is huge. And look, you can see the broken Lavatera tree there. But now when you consider last week you couldn't even see down here, then you can see that we have light, we have a space. Is it perfect? No. Is it better? Yes. Am I sad about the rotten fence? Yes. But, you know, we do the best we can. For a little break away from brambles, I cleared that path there. But no, it's nice to see light getting in. So I was feeling a bit overwhelmed, so I stopped to look at the flowers, to keep always coming back to the gorgeous bits of the garden, because I don't want my plants to pick up the energy that I think they're a job. Ladybirds everywhere, which is wonderful to see, and this climbing rose, which is the newest rose in the garden. This is the first time it's flowered, and I am beyond excited. It is mixing in with that flowering jasmine to create quite the arch. I need to tie it all back to keep it in some semblance of control, but I'm super excited as to see this clematis open as well. Right, so now just to deal with this huge pile of weeds which was past my waist, which I'd piled up on the grass in Tilly's secret garden. So rather than just loading it as it was, I'm cutting it down here into tiny little bits just to compact it down so it can go in my bin, rather than having to get in the car and drive to my local tip with it. So that's what I'm doing here, just a piece at a time, breathing, trying not to get overwhelmed, stopping when my back hurts, just a bit at a time, one thorn at a time, one branch at a time. And I think viewing overwhelming jobs like this garden is like that, just the next thing, the next stem. That hula hoop idea, just dealing with the next hula hoop of weeds, it's just really useful just to keep going. And I haven't had a lot of time this week. It's just been the odd half an hour here, 20 minutes there, the odd hour here, but it does make a difference. And I think that's why recording it in Garden Diaries is so brilliant, because you think you've done nothing, and a few times in this video I had to cut out me sighing because I felt like I'd done nothing. But then you look back and you can see that you have. The dog has spotted foxes in the garden again. The foxes that live at the top of the garden have started to get braver and have even appeared down on the patio. So Rupert is constantly charging around, sniffing where they've been. The dogs got out this week as well, which was terrifying. We lost them for an entire hour and a half. Don't ask, but it was just terrifying. But we're not thinking about that now. We're looking at gorgeous flowers, and also how packed that bed still is. I still can't see any light through it. It's terrible. And the steps, look at the steps. I need to have a little sweep of the steps and try and start breaking through some of those brambles. You can see I've got a pile of brambles there, and I am beginning to see some light in this bed where the Lavatera is flowering. I'm beginning to unearth old pots again. There is a blue pot under there somewhere. I'm beginning to see some of the garden ornaments as well again. Lavatera, of course, is gorgeous, but there's dead bits of Lavatera. Look at that big trunk that was dead. More brambles. Everywhere I go I'm pulling out brambles. But half an hour later the step is looking a little bit better. I've still got to pick up the brambles, and I am beginning to see some possibility of light and space through these flowering shrubs, which is wonderful. So I'm going to leave it there. Everything unfinished. That is the very nature of gardening. Nothing is ever finished. But thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.